Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. It's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is the interview series where I interview cool comic collectors and also fellow YouTubers. And today is a mix of the two because we got S. Vaughn 82. He does a show called Comic Addicts, just a cool live stream show that he does, and he's just a cool YouTuber. And he has a pretty awesome collection because I was doing some competition with him on Biggie Shaq's channel, I believe, and he was pulling out some pretty awesome stuff. So I was like, "Hey, you gotta come on my show to do this interview." So after me begging him, he decided to do so. So without further ado, let's bring in S. Vaughn 82.
Hey, what's up? How are you?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing
You
great.
showed some really great stuff on that
Thank you.
on the contest that we did, like where we were like pulling out books. I actually really enjoyed the stuff you showed, and you didn't get much love though. I felt like you're not getting the love you deserved, but yeah, it was good.
I mean, you're saying that I didn't get the love that I deserve. You were showing some golden age goodness.
I never get love. I never win. Okay, I've realized that in my life that I'll never win. I could show like the biggest Grail, like Action One, and I'll lose against like a dollar bin book. It's just
Well,
it is my life.
just so you know, I was talking to a friend after the live stream that wasn't on the live stream with us, and he was
Mhm.
like, "Man, that comic collector geek, he absolutely just killed it with his books." And I was like, "Yeah, in my opinion, he won the show. I mean, hands
It's
down."
okay. It's okay. I think it's part of the joke that we do, that we always make me lose, but it's okay. I'm over it. The therapist is handling it well. So, but yeah. So how did you personally get into both YouTube and into comic collecting?
Okay. I am a lifelong lover of comic books,
Hmm.
and I was a collector as a child. However, much like a lot of other people, when I hit my teenage years, I hit a rough spell, got into drug use, and
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
was
other
shocked when
bad,
you mentioned that. I was like, oh my god,
yeah,
that's so crazy.
a lot of really bad activities. I went down a really bad road, and
Hmm.
which I wouldn't have. I wish I would have stuck to the comic shops and stuff.
Hmm.
But anyways, I went down that road and got away from comic books. However, I always had a love for Marvel and DC, and I always had a hand in comics in one way or another, whether it just be playing a mobile app game or reading trades or something. I always would pick up a trade or something, no matter what, throughout the years. But then I was one of those that kind of came back as far as being a hardcore collector. When COVID hit, I was fresh out of rehab, looking
Hmm.
to start my life over and live a good life and a clean life, and I needed some good hobbies. And
Yeah.
I went in a comic shop and picked up an issue of King and Black. That event had just
Okay.
started, and I read it, loved it. I love Donny
Symbiotes.
Cates.
Symbiotes
Yeah,
for the win.
yeah. I loved Donny Cates, the way he started King and Black, and it sucked me in. So I bought a short box and a couple of books and started back from there.
Oh
And
wow,
yeah, and
that's
that's how I
cool.
got started into comic book collecting, and loved them as a kid. I actually brought some books with me that I had when I was a kid to show you guys. But how I got started on YouTube, when I got, it was another like fresh out of rehab, looking for things to do, and COVID and being stuck. And I had created with some other guys a Facebook group that was kind of recovery related, and
Hmm.
just trying to do some good things in my community and just get people's spirits up, lift people's spirits, let them know that no matter how far down that hole you go, or how hard you hit rock bottom, that you can turn it around, that you can't, it's not the end for anyone. And we wanted to show that, and we started the Facebook group, but it kind of turned into like a meme group where
Okay.
sort of people were sharing more drug related memes. I didn't like the direction that it
Oh,
was
that's
going
not
in.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's not what I wanted it to be about. So I decided to just take it upon myself to start a YouTube channel. And but I didn't just want to do recovery stuff. I loved comic books and was hardcore into comic books.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I had no idea, but it's like I'm gonna make this work somehow, and I'm gonna do recovery and I'm gonna do comic book stuff, and
Wow.
that's how it all got started.
So do you find that comics has kept you clean, like in terms of like your life, or?
Yeah.
That you
Yeah, I
replace
do.
one addiction with another addiction, basically.
Well, I mean, it kind of is what I'm doing. And I was actually talking to a friend of mine who works, is actually pretty high up at a rehab facility here in Chattanooga. I was talking to her yesterday and was telling her like I love the rush that I get when I find a really awesome book in
Hmm.
a bargain bin, and it's basically an endorphin release, and
Yeah, I
it's
can
kind of
imagine.
you're replacing one thing with another, but it's a healthy hobby. It's a clean hobby. It's led me to meeting a lot of amazing people who have helped me with my recovery. This comic book community is my safety net. I have a lot of these guys to fall back on, and they've supported
Hmm.
me. And it's really
That's
been
good.
it's been a beautiful thing for my life.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, I think that's one thing. I find that the people in the community are very supportive of each other.
yes.
Yeah, I hear all these crazy stories, like not comic related stories, and we always support the people. It's weird. It's like it's very close knit kind of community. And I think that's great. I think that it's good. And if you ever need support, I'm not the best at support, but I can pretend. Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
but yeah,
Well,
but
like just doing things like me and you did the other night when we were hanging out on Biggie's channel and having the
mhm,
little comic book battles, things like
yeah.
that help me, man. Just having somewhere I can hang out with good people and just having good clean fun, man. That's things like that help me.
Yeah, I think it's important. I think that's one of the things that leads people to the wrong path generally, is where if you don't have that activity, something to keep you busy, keep your mind busy, keep
Mhm.
you active,
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, how do I fill the time? And then you get into batter, like bad grammar. Um, you get into habits that can lead to destructiveness. Is the problem?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and comic books, it helps fill that void for sure. It
Hmm.
gives me plenty of things to do. And when I'm bored, I can always go to McKay's, which is like a local resale shop, or I can find some comic shops, and I always
Hmm.
have that I can look forward to and do on a boring day.
Cool. So, how about you show some? I actually am curious what books you collected, because you collected from your when you were a kid until now. So I'd be curious what books you got when you were younger and what books that you're collecting now. What that kind of
Okay. Well,
transition.
I don't actually. Okay, I've I've I should probably say that I don't have books from my childhood that I rebought a lot of
Oh,
these.
okay,
But I did bring some books, and they're some of these are not worth anything at all, but
that's fine.
it's
It's not about
they're
value.
favorites, and they're books that I did have when I was a kid and I loved as a kid. So when you said bring some of your favorites, I kind of
Yeah,
wanted to bring
bring your
like
favorites. I actually prefer to see, like, everyone always like thinks, oh, I got to bring Hulk 181 or some kind of big book. And it's not
yeah.
about that. Bring your favorites. I like to know what people love. I like to see that love for the comics personally.
I think I brought a pretty good mix of things. I even
Okay.
brought a few books just because I had a good story behind them. So
Okay. Cool.
like
Cool.
a
So
live and learn type
I'm gonna
thing.
let you show some books.
Okay. Okay. These three right here, I picked out to show because they are books that I had as a kid. And when I say child, like 7, 8 years old, sitting in my mom's back seat of the car looking at these books. But this, you guys probably have never seen this before, or maybe even ever heard of it.
What is this?
It's called
Monster in my
Monster in My
in my
Pocket.
pocket.
This was a
Strangely, I think I remember commercials for that.
it was a toy line, and
Yeah.
they based this comic book off of the toy line. Do you remember the little muscle wrestling guys?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They
Where
were
you
called
stretch their
Muscle.
arms and stuff.
Yes, this was the monster version of that.
I remember that strangely, like very brief period of time though.
Yeah, and this book's worth nothing, but I found it in a dollar bin for like 50 cents one time when I was out hunting. And this is an actual book that I can remember reading and rereading and reading over again when I was a kid.
Wow.
So I had to
That's
bring
very
that.
cool book, actually. I like that one.
Yeah, that's plucked straight out of my childhood. So I had to bring that. And also, and I've bought this book. I have rebought this book probably when I was looking through my short boxes over here to pull books out to bring for this live stream. I actually probably saw 10 different copies of this because I don't know, it's just one of those books that I
Oh
will
yeah.
always
I always
grab.
like that one too.
Yeah, I'll grab it every single time. I don't care how many copies I have. I just love this book because of it's straight out of my childhood. It's another one that I read when I probably a little too mature what for a kid, but I don't know. Back then I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
Um and this was my very favorite. This is my very favorite book from childhood. This is worth like 10 or 15 bucks. But
Oh, thing number one. Awesome.
this, if I had to pick a book that represents my childhood, I would probably pick this one.
That's cool.
Yeah, I can remember riding in my mom's little white Honda that she had for a brief period when I was a kid, and just flipping through the pages of that in the back seat. And I remember my copy; it was all beat up. It had horrible spine ticks. It was destroyed, but I loved it though. I loved it.
So it's a book that you read and reread and just really enjoyed that book.
Yeah, and I guess you could say that I've been a John Byrne fan since childhood because I've always loved that art.
Yeah, I keep on meeting so many John Byrne fans. I do enjoy John Byrne's work too. So I think that's cool that that so many people love John Byrne. So
yeah,
I liked him from She-Hulk, like that.
Yes,
part. And what's it called? Was it Hellboy? Hellboy?
I'm not sure. I never collected any of that.
No,
I do collect his She-Hulk though. A lot of his She-Hulk stuff.
Yeah.
But the next book I brought to show, this is not a book that's my favorite or anything. I do collect this run slowly just as I find them. And I brought this book because it is an example of a time, probably one of my biggest regrets out on the hunt, not pulling the trigger on a big book and having to live with the regret of not doing that. This is Coyote issue 1. And
nice.
This is not anything significant.
I know it's like 13 or 14 is the one with Todd McFarlane.
Coyote 11, I think.
11.
It's his
I
first.
I always forget the number, but
so his first artwork was on this series. Well, I had the chance. I was at a flea market in North Georgia, and I had the chance. There was a Coyote 11 sitting in a glass case.
Okay.
And at the time, I went for I saw a bunch of old She-Hulk books, and that caught my attention. And at the time, I didn't have any of the old She-Hulk books. They were in really good shape. So I ended up buying all those that day and not worrying about the Coyote 11, telling myself that I would return for it weeks later. About a month passed by. I did drive back out there on purpose to go get the book. And believe it or not, that very flea market was closed down, and I don't know what happened to the seller.
Oh, man. That sucks.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest cases of regret.
So, but they would have known what it was worth, though, right?
Do what now?
Did they know? Did they know that it was a key book? Because you said it was in the glass case, so therefore.
And it was priced at about what it was worth, and that was one of the reasons why I hesitated, because had it been a little cheaper, like, okay, this was around the time when prices were at a high, like comics were inflated. So he wanted that inflated price. I probably should have just went ahead and paid it
but in a way, actually, you probably did better that you didn't get it.
Maybe.
And the reason I say that is probably, I think it's price corrected cents, right? Where pretty much everything that was hyped during COVID has dropped maybe 50 to 70% even.
Yes. The only problem is I've not found it since. If I do find it, then the regret will no longer be there. But until I find it again, I will live with that regret.
Yeah. I actually have a copy of it.
Nice.
I went after all Todd McFarlane's, keys. Like there's like a bunch where first artwork, first cover, first DC, first Marvel, like all these things.
That's pretty cool that you have those. That's awesome, man.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. But do you find that like that Coyote book? I just think when I think about that book, I always think of it as a dollar bin book. And because it was for the longest time until people found out its key significance.
Yeah.
So I think somewhere out there, you're going to go through a dollar bin, or you're going to go through somebody's boxes, and they're just going to have it mixed in. I just feel like it's out there.
I've found bigger books in dollar bins before, so it could
What
happen. It could
what was
happen.
what was the biggest book you found in like just randomly in like the sort of cheaper bins?
The very biggest I actually have in my pile of books to show.
Oh,
You want me
cool,
to go?
cool. So
You want me
show
to go
some
ahead
more
and show it?
books. Yeah, show some
Um,
more books.
let's see. I will show you probably, and they're not like okay. Two of my biggest finds, I just have to tell you stories about, unfortunately, because when I found them, and you might hate me after I tell you this. Two of my biggest finds from literal dollar bins. I paid less than $5 a piece for them. What were they? It was two Golden Age books from 1947, International Comics issue 1 and
Oh
issue
wow.
5.
Oh wow.
Um,
Those are
one was
great
a really
books.
cool, yeah, one was a really cool crime cover, and issue, or it might have been 3. It was 3, 4, or 5. The other one, it was a
So
clown
three
cover.
is I believe three is the clown one.
Yes, it was 3. It was the clown cover.
Oh wow, I paid a lot for that.
These were in great shape. I mean, very good shape. At the time, I didn't have an appreciation. The way I looked at Golden Age books was they were beautiful, but they belonged to someone like yourself that would appreciate them more than I would.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because at the time where my appreciation was, I hate to say it, was like 80s and 90s books, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
It's
traded those two Golden Age books
oh
for
no.
credit towards modern slabs.
Oh well. I mean, you
Yeah.
probably got good credit though.
I got very good credit, but it's a mistake. It was a big mistake, and I regret doing it.
Those books
So,
are big. So the one with the clown, just so you know, is the first EC trial at doing like pre-code, basically pre-code horror. It's the very
oh,
first kind of attempt at horror.
see, and I'm a clown fan too, so it hurts me that I even let it go because of that. I just felt like somebody else. I felt like it belonged to somebody else at the time when it belonged with me.
Like yeah, so that run they were basically testing out all the different genres, and they were saying, oh, is it horror that we should go with? Is it crime? Is it good girl? What should we go with? Or
So that's
was
why issue 1 was a crime-based cover,
yeah,
because that had the guy getting socked in the face on issue
yeah,
1.
yeah. So each was a different genre, and superheroes was the other one, and the crime one, not the crime one, the horror one. They realized, hey, there's something here, and that's where EC became the horror comic. Horror
See,
comics.
learning that bit of information makes me hate myself for doing that even more. It was
But
just a
that's like a
bad
three four
mistake.
hundred dollar book all day long.
So yeah, like that's my two biggest mistakes that I've made in collecting. I've already put out there for you guys. So that's my worst
Well, but you
mistake.
got some slabs out of it, so not too bad.
I did. I got some cool slabs. But I pulled this out of a dollar bin, a
Oh
newsstand
wow, that's a
Savage
nice dollar
She-Hulk.
bin book.
This is probably, there's not a tick on this book. If it's aligned correctly, I think I could probably get a 9.4, maybe
Wow,
9.6,
nice.
maybe. But it's a newsstand, and I plucked this out of a dollar bin.
Wow, that's really insane. That's like I got it cheaply when I bought mine, but not that cheaply, not even close to that cheaply. Like $50 is what I'm saying cheaply,
Well,
but
my
wow,
heart, I
that's a
literally
great
thought
one.
that I was possibly having a heart attack because my heart was racing when I started pulling it up, and I'm like, okay, is it a facsimile? And at the time, there is currently a facsimile for it because I own one, but at the
Mm-hmm.
time it hadn't came out yet, so I'm not sure if a facsimile existed back then when I found this.
Mm-hmm.
But
And did
yeah,
they not like say, "Hey, no, that's in the wrong bin" when you brought it to buy it, or
no, because it was at a bookstore by the name of McKay's, and if you I don't you're probably not familiar with McKay's. It's more like a
no?
they have southeastern locations. But it's basically a huge warehouse of comics, books, DVDs,
Oh
anything
wow,
media. And they price it quick and put it out quick, and once it's priced, man, it goes for what they price it at, and they make monumental mistakes.
that would be a monumental mistake. That
Yeah.
she.
Well, the one I'm about to show you is even worse because I pulled it out of the very same dollar bin. Cross my heart on everything that I love. I'm not lying to you guys. Pulled out of the
Okay.
very same bin the same day. And also found a New Mutants graphic novel the same
Okay.
day. But
That's the messed up one.
the
That's
rare
the
second print.
that's the really super rare one. That
Mm-hmm.
is like really expensive. I know
Because
I know that book.
it was packaged with a Spidey 29.99 toy in the
Yeah,
90s. So most of these got like just absolutely dismantled and
mangled.
destroyed.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is, I don't know. I think I could get a good grade out of it. But if I do get a good grade, this is like 1,000 or
Yeah, I was
more.
gonna say like $1,000 book. Yeah.
Yeah, in a good grade. So yeah, man, that was probably my best find out of a dollar bin. Provided I can
Wow.
get the grade that I want out of it. But it's a beautiful copy though. Oh, it's a pretty copy.
Well, I'll have to go down to check that place out.
McKay's is awesome.
Do they have Golden Age?
I have found Golden Age, and there are some Golden Age in the bins right now. But I passed them up because they were pretty horrible, and they weren't necessarily like beautiful covers or anything.
Yeah, I mean that's the big thing you look for in Golden Age. Does it have a cool cover?
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are some of those space. I think it's Space Cadet, the one that they found like a whole warehouse full of them recently, but it's
Oh,
from like
really?
1953.
Like not Space Detective, is it?
I want to say it had Cadet in the name, but it was a really cool, like beautiful Golden Age book from 53. But they
Okay.
recently found a warehouse full of them, so it devalued it. It took it down to a $10 book.
Oh, I think I might know the one you're talking about. It is, yeah, it's a really cheap. It's a cheap book because yeah, there's
It's
lots
a
of them out
cheap
there.
but beautiful Golden Age book. I mean, like
Yeah.
it's a cool space cover. You got the dome helmet. It's got a lot of the things you would want on a Golden Age cover, but just unfortunately they found a whole freaking warehouse full of
Yeah.
immaculate copies.
Well, that's one thing that's kind of sad, but like most of the Golden Age, like they printed them to death. There was like a
Oh,
lot
okay.
printed back then, but not many survived. So if you do find a warehouse, you'll find a lot of them.
See, I have a lot to learn when it comes to Golden Age, and the more I learn, the more I appreciate it. The more that I feel like I made a mistake when I sold those Golden Age books.
You probably did okay. You probably did okay. It's if whenever you sell for less, sell for more than what you paid,
Mm-hmm.
you've done well at the end of
Oh,
the day.
I made an absolute killing.
Yeah,
So I
that's
did
what I would
well.
figure.
Yeah, I did very well.
So that's cool. So can you show some of the slabs that you got for those beautiful Golden Age books that you gave away, basically?
A lot of it was just anonymous stuff here and there, supplies and things like that. I'm almost embarrassed to show you one of the slabs that I got for the credit. However, I will tell you, I only used very little of the credit for this. Like I got,
Okay.
I don't remember, but it was well over $500. I do remember I cleaned up that day. I made well over 500 in profit, and just a small chunk I used on this book. So please don't make fun of me.
All right, we'll see.
And keep in mind, I didn't have this in my collection at the time either. And I'm an X-Men fan, and I'm an 80s baby. So I used
Oh, wow. That's a great book, though. It is a great book. I don't have any disrespect for that book because I actually like Omega Red. I think that's a cool book.
It's a great book, and it's a book that I always wanted when I was growing up, and I never had it. And it's just how I went about obtaining it is what I hate. It's almost embarrassing.
So, I
learned everything the hard way. Huh?
It's really raining here, by the way. It's like a downpour.
Oh, wow.
But I actually want to get that as a slab book some point. That's a great book, believe it or not. I think
I'll tell you one thing about this book that I've learned, because this is a beautiful copy. I couldn't find anything wrong with it because it's a 9.6, so I'm trying to find the reason why it got a 9.6.
Is there no grader notes?
Well, I didn't look at the grader notes, but I didn't have to once I looked at it real hard. And I noticed once I started finding copies of this book, it's a pretty common thing. So if you ever find a copy of this book, there is a misalignment that happened when it was being printed on the front cover. It's slightly misaligned on this side. And Other than that, this is a perfect book. But a lot of copies of this I found have that same misalignment in this corner.
Okay, and that's what you think they dinged it on?
And that's what I think they dinged it on, because I've seen it on 3 other copies of this book.
Oh, it's so the funny thing is, like, if it's something that's known, then they can say, well, that's a printing defect. It's not like, and they'll grade it as a 9.8 at that point.
Okay.
Right?
Well, maybe I should go check the notes then.
Yeah,
I
you
guess
should
that would
say,
be the
hey,
smart
look,
thing to do.
yeah.
But it looked beautiful other than that, though. But yeah, sadly, I used some of my credit on that.
It's okay. I mean, that's a cool book. I actually like that book.
Yeah.
That book was one of those ones, like, I always feel like there's like 3 or 4 characters that I feel like they're gonna, they keep on specking on. Mephisto.
Yeah.
It's always, oh, they're gonna put Mephisto in this movie
Constantly. It's
gonna
become a joke. It's mentioned so much.
Yeah, it's almost like a meme now.
Yeah.
And Omega Red is another one where they keep on saying, oh, it's gonna be him.
Do you think he'll show up?
Yeah. Well, they keep on saying it, but it never happens.
So. I think we'll see him eventually. I think that
eventually.
I certainly hope so.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. So I always see him as being one of those characters that they always kind of hype that someday we're gonna get that character, but
yeah,
just hasn't happened.
Yep. Maybe someday though.
But what other books did you bring to the show?
Oh, I got a ton, man.
Okay, show your books. I'm gonna let you show your books. I won't cut you off so much.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I wasn't sure how you paced everything out.
Yeah,
so,
no, whatever. It's pretty. Oh my goodness! If that's what I think it is, that's an awesome book.
This is indeed an awesome book. This book means a lot to me for many different reasons. It was a gift from a close friend who sent it to me because he knew that I wanted it really bad. Also, and it was a friend of mine that finds Golden Age. I mean, like, you would love this guy. He finds some really good stuff. But he sent this. It has a crease down the front and a small tear on the back, but it's the real deal. Other than that,
it's the first print.
Yeah, it's the real deal. It just has a tear down the back.
Oh, okay.
But still, as far as, I mean, from everything, from all my research, it is a real first print.
Wow.
This video got me the most views in a regular video for my channel than any other video I've ever put out. I did a video talking about Larry Wells, the creator of Cherry Pop Tart, on my channel, S Vaughn 82, and it ended up getting me like 14,000 views.
Wow.
And it's
I'm
still
gonna have
growing.
to do a Cherry Pop Tart video now.
Yeah, seriously. Use keywords adult erotica. I think that's what did it
for me. Maybe that's what it was more than the Cherry Pop Tart.
Well, the title of the video was Adult Erotica in Comics, but it was about this book.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great book. It's sort of like Archie meets porn.
Yeah, it's very, very Archie-esque for sure. You can tell that there was some inspiration taken, to say the least.
Yeah. I actually have her first appearance, and I have the whole run of Cherry Pop Tart.
Wow. Okay. Now I've been wanting to order some stuff. If you go, there's actually a website. I can't remember the name of it, but it's ran by Larry Wells, his family and everything. It's the official site, and you can order books. And there was a really cool Momoko version that I was wanting to order.
Yeah, I have that. I have that one.
You have that?
I have it in 9.8. Yeah.
Do you have? Oh shit, man. Do you have the Rose Besh?
No, I don't.
That's a beautiful one as well.
Yeah, I like that, but I actually really like the Peach Momoko one. It's just really great.
It's better. Great cover. Yeah, it's man, you got all the good books. What the hell?
Yeah.
This is technically a magazine, but this checks off multiple boxes for me. This is a McFarlane cover. It's a magazine that I subscribed to and I loved as a kid. It kept me in touch before the internet with comic books and what was cool. Little Wizard 11 McFarlane cover.
That's so cool.
I love this book, man.
It's very like Spawn / the Batman cover mixture in there, and like a whole bunch of things going on.
Yep, and I'm a huge McFarlane fan. Like I mentioned with the Coyote 11 earlier, I love McFarlane. I buy any McFarlane covers that I see, especially the older ones. But yeah, big McFarlane fan. So, and I actually have a few more, I think, McFarlane books to show because a few of his covers are some of my all time favorites. So,
Actually, I tried to get something signed by him once, and it was at a con, and I walked into the con, and like I saw this line. I was like, oh, this line's going to McFarlane booth, right? I was like, oh, okay, it's not that long.
yeah.
And they said, no, this is not the beginning of the line. This is not it went all the way around this whole convention hall. It was insane. It was like a 3-hour line to go get a signing from McFarlane. So the funny thing was he left at like the convention was over around like 6 or 7, and he left around 5. Like he left a couple hours before the convention was over. So I kind of wandered over to his booth. There was no line by that point. And they had this big print. I said, oh, how much is that? It's like $10. And it had his signature on it. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yes.
So I got his signature for $10. It was $50, I think, to get it signed.
That's awesome.
So I didn't have to wait in line, and I got the cool
Dude,
signature.
that's killer. And that's another one of my small regrets that I would say in collecting is not taking advantage of that signing that CGC did this past what was it, October, November?
Yeah, but imagine again, it'd probably be that 3-hour line or something crazy, right?
I mean, it was it was just an open submission. You sent your
so
books
you just
in.
submit your books and he would sign them? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, and they were CGC witnessed, verified, and everything. They, but yeah,
wasn't
you had to
it
submit.
really expensive, or like was it like $100 or $200 or?
It was around. I did my research. It was to get the special label like me or you would want, like a custom label. It was going to be like $125 per book.
Okay, not too bad.
Because
like grading costs,
man.
Yeah. I mean, that's not too bad. I mean, you'd obviously put in your better books. That's where you get the Coyote 11. That's the kind of book. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're getting the special label on it as well. And like guys like me like the little extra touches like that. So it's cool.
Definitely. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Oh well, we miss out on these things, but it is what they'll do it again. He's too big of a name not to do it again.
They'll do it again. It was really successful. So they'll do it again.
Yeah.
While we're on the Todd kick, I'll go ahead and show another Todd cover. This is one of my favorite covers of all time. It has a little bit of value. It's another one that I pluck from bargain bins every opportunity I get. I think I'm up to like 5 copies of it right now. But I will have this slabbed in a 9.8 one day. And this would probably be.
I always pick that book up. Every time I see it, I'll pick it up.
Me too. It's one of my favorite covers. It would definitely be one of the ones I would send into a submission. Just because I've loved this book from childhood. I just, even like when I was a kid, I loved the cover. As an adult, I still love this cover to this day.
Yeah, I always thought it was like, that's one of those covers. Like, I like The Good Girls. I just love that cover. I just think it's brilliant.
It's awesome. Yeah, I'm a big fan, and I love Angela as a character. Even nowadays in Marvel, she's a cool character. I hope that maybe someday we see her in the MCU. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm always skeptical of that because there's so much baggage with that character between because of the ownership rights to the character, gaming, right?
Yeah, that whole deal.
But that's definitely a great one.
The next book I brought to show is one it's special to me because it's from a special day and meeting a special person, and is one of the best days that I had last year and one of the best days I've ever had as a YouTuber. I heard that. Are you familiar with Comics with Bueller?
Of course, yeah. Okay. I'm going to interview him in a few weeks, probably.
Awesome. You're going to have a blast. He's a great guy, first off.
But I always enjoyed his channel.
Dude, he's awesome. When I got back into comic books, he was one of the first channels that I found. And of course, I watched him all the time to find out, what the newest, coolest books were coming out and to learn about some comic books and watch his interviews and stuff. Grew to love him and his channel as a person, grew to love him and Bob and their Comics and Coffee show. Just really think a lot of him. But I heard that he was going to be in Chattanooga because he was making his rounds in the Bueller bus last year
Yeah, yeah.
to visit different comic book shops.
Yep.
So
He
I
was
heard he
doing
was
that for
gonna.
Whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, so I messaged him and I was like, "Hey man, any possible way I could meet up and just say hi to you?" And he actually messaged me back and he said, "Yeah, sure, I'll be at McKay's at this time." Gave me the time, so me and my girlfriend rode over there, and I got out and started recording, just expecting just to do a quick video, just recording a lap around the bus and maybe wave to Bueller and get back in the car and leave. But I get up to the bus as I'm recording, and Bueller waves me on the bus.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, so I get to go on the bus. I get to sit down with him. We had a good conversation. Treated me like I was like an old friend, telling me all these old stories, giving me advice for my channel. And then I gave him some books that I brought because he was collecting Spawn at the time. So I gave him some short print Spawn, like early 100s.
Oh, wow, that's nice of you.
Some that he was missing. So he gave me his favorite title at the time, and he signed it for me. He wrote to the
Scumbag,
yeah, he wrote, "To the scumbag of all scumbags, Bueller."
Wow,
and
that's awesome.
I'll never forget that day. It was an awesome day. He's an awesome guy, and since then he's been a mentor to me. I talk to him every so often. He helps me on my Comic Book Addicts live stream. He sends me clips to use. He pops in and watches the show.
Wow.
He's been an awesome mentor and just a great friend to me. So
Wow,
that book
really
means a lot.
So what was it like inside the bus? I was curious because you only see, like, when he films like the inside, it's like it's really just, it looks like he's at a coffee table kind of like level of situation. What's it like inside? Is it like a comic display? What is it like inside the bus?
Yeah, there is actually a video on my channel. If anybody wanted
to go watch it now.
Yeah, if you want to go to SVaughn82, you can check out. There's a video where you can actually see it for yourself. Excuse me, I shook my camera. But when you first walk on there, you're looking at the driver's seat, but then you step on, and there's his little table to the left. Like if you walk on the bus to your left-hand side, there's a table and then chairs, and on your right-hand side, there's these custom cabinets. Well, the doors on the custom cabinets are actually covers of classic comic books. One of the doors is like Hulk 181. One of the doors is an Adams Joker cover. Just classic comic book covers on these cabinet doors.
Wow.
There were stickers. Even my sticker's up somewhere on the inside of the bus, but he's got different YouTuber stickers all around the top inside. The very back of the bus is his bed where he lays his head at night. But yeah, it's
so cool. Does he have, like, is he driving around with most of his collection, like his PC, or what? How does he do it? Like,
he had several short boxes, and they were stored, I believe, in those cabinets I was telling you about. But he keeps a limited amount of comic books on him, but he keeps a few short boxes.
Okay, because like I can't imagine driving around with my collection.
Yeah, no.
I'd have to get like a small, like not a small, but a big bus or something, like massive bus or something.
It would be way too sketchy. But you're gonna enjoy talking to him though, because he's one of those people, like, you never know what kind of person you're gonna get off camera if somebody's just kind of putting on a character or an act on their channel. True. But I can tell you with Bueller, he is 100% authentic and legit, and he's just been a great person and a great friend to me ever since.
Yeah, I always thought he seemed like a really nice guy. Like, from
he's legit.
Just the way he and Bob kind of always relate to each other. You can tell that he's genuine in terms of personality. Yeah.
And Bob's a great man that I have a lot of respect for also. So
yeah, that's cool. So are you do you do with your Comic Addicts? Do you do like those kind of interviews as well? Like what we're doing, similar to what we're doing here, like where you bring like special guests and
yeah, and I have all different kind of guests from YouTubers, like me and yourself. Bueller's been on the show before as a guest. I've had different writers on the show. I've had Jonathan Hedrick, the writer of Recounts and Dream Master. Okay. He came on. Me and him I'm actually proud to call him a friend now, because we talk here and there. He's an awesome guy. Tristan Gallagher, he wrote a couple of indie books. The main one was Rad Wraith. which is
Okay.
a cool
Don't know
Black
it.
Caravan title. It's one of my favorite indie titles.
Okay.
I've got Tom Brayfogle. He'll be on in a couple weeks. He does How I Became a Shoplifter.
That's so kind of sounds funny.
Yeah. Trish Forstner from Stray Dogs. She did Stray
Yeah, I
Dogs
know
last
her.
year.
Yeah. I like
She
Stray Dogs. That was a great little title.
Yes, it was awesome. She has a string of covers that are going to be coming out in September, one being for a Darkwing Duck spinoff. I'm really excited about.
Oh,
But she'll
really?
be on Comic Book Addicts in September to promote those covers. So
Did she do all like the alternate covers as well for Stray Dogs?
she did a lot of covers for Stray Dogs. She didn't do all of them.
Because like I really liked some of those like how they would homage like different classic horror movies and stuff.
I love those, man. Some of those were awesome. Yeah, she
Yeah.
didn't do all of those, but she did a lot of them.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I
she's an
really.
amazing person as well. She's really cool.
Yeah, I heard that she's cool. I've heard
She's
other
awesome.
people speak highly of her. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I speak really highly of Trish. She's an amazing person as well as artist. But I've had a lot of really cool, really genuine people from the comic book community, YouTubers on the live stream. Some of my favorite guests that I've had on the live stream are just YouTubers like me and you that I've had the most fun talking to.
Well, probably we have the most in common. Basically, we're both. It's the collector people plus the YouTuber people. Same kind of mentality, maybe.
True. Yeah, you're probably right there. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's been such a pleasure doing that live stream though. It's my baby. That's what I love the most. That's what I put the most effort into. I'm booked up through September.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Like I put a lot of energy into the show. I'm gonna have a custom logo made soon for merch. It's gonna be a logo that people are gonna want to wear on a shirt.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's my goal. I want a logo for Comic Book Addicts that people are gonna want to wear on a t-shirt.
Can you say, like you told me before we started recording, a little bit about that? Can you tell people now about who the artist might be involved with that, or?
Yeah, his name, he's not like a huge artist, but he's an amazing artist. He's on Instagram. In 2 weeks, I'm actually making it official, but we're talking right now. It's Andy Duso Art on IG. It's Andy Duso Art, and
Cool.
that's who I'm looking at doing. Now, I've already talked to him. I just have to get back with him.
And you said he's kind of graphitic kind of style plus like spider punk
yeah, it's a real street edgy style. He does some graffiti art, so I'm thinking Comic Book Addicts in like some sort of graffiti bubbles and like a cool. He does some original spider punk art, so I want like maybe a cool spider punk type logo. I think that would represent what the live stream's about pretty well. So
cool. That'd be I mean that's cool when you get those like well done, like a lot of people when they do their logos, it's like they do it themselves and it's like you can tell that they're not artists. It's like very very iffy.
Well, I love my channel, man. I love my channel and I'm willing to put a little bit of money into it if that's what it takes to have a good channel. And even like for my original logo I commissioned from Andy Duggan. He is an artist for IDW. He does a lot of stuff on Star Wars and Transformer Beast Wars.
Wow.
So, yeah, my original logo, he did me a Venom version and a Carnage version. But yeah, that was commissioned from Andy Duggan. So shout out.
That's cool.
Andy.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And did you ever get him on your show to like?
I've never had Andy on. That's
you gotta say, hey, you made my logo. You gotta come on the show.
Yeah, and he's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's a local here in Chattanooga too. So.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's convenient. Like what would you say is like your book that you would be chasing after? What's your Grail book that you're chasing after, would you say?
That's a good question. I really wish that I had an Ultimate Fallout 4. I can't find one. I want one of those in my collection. I wouldn't say that was a Grail. That's just something I want. I don't feel like it's gonna. I just feel like the price is just gonna keep going up and up and up on that book until it's unaffordable. So I really want one
I mean, there was a time to buy it. like I would say maybe 2-3 months ago, maybe
Yeah,
it was sort of on a lull. It's kind of gone back up a bit since, but
yeah.
it's still
Honest,
affordable compared to when it like a couple of years ago. Like,
yeah, yeah. Probably a lot more so
I think
now.
you could. I think they sell 9/8s for around 1,700. I think is the going rate right now.
Okay, okay.
Well, you don't have to buy it in a 9/8. Is my point. You don't get it. You get it like a 9/4. I always find 9/4s is like the perfect price point. It's like
Yeah,
it's affordable but beautiful. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah. Still very presentable. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I kind of want to get in, and it kind of goes back to my regret about selling the Golden Age stuff. I really would love to have some of those Golden Age books like you have, like that Patsy
Mm-hmm.
Walker you showed the other night.
Oh,
That was
okay.
a beautiful book, man. I want some, I want some stuff like that. Like I need your hookup on that kind of stuff.
I don't really have a hookup. I just like I search a lot on eBay and my comic shop and heritage auctions. That's really and then I put myself out there in terms of Instagram, where people
Okay.
will reach out to me with certain books.
I am,
Usually overpriced, but
yeah, yeah, always almost. I'm currently looking for the first appearance of Freddy Krueger. It's a magazine format.
okay,
Not super expensive, but just a book that's eluded me so far.
okay.
Um, there's a lot of books I'm looking for. I want the first Spider Punk before it's like a $50 book right now. I want to
Oh,
grab it up
really?
before it gets more expensive because Spider Punk's one of my favorite characters.
I'm just surprised that that's that expensive. I think I paid $10 to $15 for it.
It's like a $50 book now, and I
Oh.
feel like it's just gonna keep going up because these kids love Spider Punk. So I think we'll
Yeah, I
see more
mean,
of them.
he did well in the movie.
Yeah,
He came across as being really cool. So,
yeah. I really want to get some of the key Spidey characters before they go up in value, like some of the early Miles stuff and Spot. I have all of Spider Punk's early stuff except for his very first appearance. Um,
did you like
I-
Spider Gwen or?
yeah, I want her first appearance. I don't have it yet, so I
Mhm.
want to grab that up. But getting back to the Golden Age, you'll probably know it. I don't know the title of the book, but I want some Golden Age horror. The Misfits took the cover and used it for "Die Die My Darling," their
Oh,
album.
Chamber of Chills 19.
Yes, I want that. That's one of my
That's
favorite Golden Age
yeah,
covers of all
but
time.
that's yeah. I'm
Super
I'm chasing
expensive.
that book every time, and I always lose out on it. I've lost maybe 2 or 3 times now on bids
Yeah,
on it. It just goes for a crazy price every time.
and that may very well be one of those books that I never have, but I
Yeah, it's
mean, it's
even in like the lowest grade, like a point 0.5, it goes for 3-4 thousand.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Which I
like
mean, it's doable. It would take a little bit of maybe selling and saving, but it's
yeah, yeah.
doable.
You'd have to
It
sacrifice for it. Yeah.
it would take some sacrifice. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it's always shocking. Like I actually think it's overpriced. Tell you the truth, but
Okay.
because there's a lot of copy, it's not as rare as some of the other books.
Okay.
But it's
Well,
just
it's just
loved.
one that as a punk rock teenager, I
I
was a punk
know.
rock kid growing up.
Yeah. Well, I'd say it's
That's
the
an awesome
most.
cover.
I'd say it's the number. Like probably somebody would disagree with me on this, but I would say it's the number one pre-code horror cover.
It's very iconic.
Yeah, it is like super iconic. There's a few others that would be kind of rivals to it, but that one to me is the most iconic. The only other one that I would say rivals it, that's the big one, is the one I have, which
The
is Crime Suspense the Stories. The
the
one with
eyeball
the
cover.
no,
Oh,
it's the decapitated head cover
oh, okay. I was gonna say
where
you
he's
showed
got
a book.
the axe and then he's holding the head.
I remember that. That's an awesome cover. The book
Yeah,
that you showed with the giant eyeball with like the rocket shooting towards it.
that's not a rocket. It's a hot poker.
Oh, okay, okay. That to me is a pretty iconic cover itself.
Yeah, actually, that just had a huge sale recently. Like a $3,000 sale for a 1.0.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't pay that much for mine, so I'm good.
Yeah, yeah. Some of the stuff like you have would be moving on up into some bigger books
Yeah,
is my goal.
I mean, there's a lot of great stuff in the Golden Age that isn't really that expensive. Like You know, if you go for those kind of well-known covers, yes, they're really expensive.
Oh, I'll
But
tell
there's
you
a
a book that just popped in my head, Demon in a Bottle. I've been chasing that one and haven't found a good copy.
what's Demon in a Bottle?
The Iron Man Demon in a Bottle cover,
Oh, where he's like standing in front of the meter and
the bottle of
he's
Jack
with it.
Daniels.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
as a
great one
former
too.
addict, that one just calls to me. I must have that in
Yeah,
my
well,
collection.
that totally makes sense. Believe it or not, that was one of those first Iron Man books that I ever bought. I think I
Wow.
paid, I'm gonna say $2 or $3 for it.
Dang. I
But
was
that was
getting
back
ready.
like that's back in the '90s, right? That's like,
Yeah, yeah. Because I
yeah.
was looking to spend, I think I found a copy for like around 100, and it was
Okay.
just a decent copy. I'm not even gonna say it was a great copy, but
Hmm.
so it's up there. It's up there a little bit now.
Yeah. So those kind of books, like, it's weird about the hobby that when you think of those certain books, like they're always in my mind as being cheap books
Yeah.
because I didn't pay much for them myself. You know what I mean?
See,
Like
and I have a different mindset because when I came in, they were very much the opposite. So
mhm. So yeah, so I think of that as like, not quite a dollar bin, but slightly above dollar bin level
yeah, yeah.
in my mind. Yeah, but it's a great cover. I love that book. I
It's
think it's a great,
awesome.
but it's I don't know. It's sort of weird. It's sort of like Spawn One, or in my mind, that kind of level.
I have 5 different copies of Spawn 1.
I have so many copies of Spawn One too. I actually gave like a set of Spawn 1 through 5 to my son. I had like they
Yes.
came out with like it was in like a special case,
Uh-huh.
and it was like, they even that there was like 50,000 copies of it, like where it's in a special case. That's how many they printed. They just printed so much of that book
Yeah.
that they could even do collector sets of them and still have like a million of them. Um,
I
but
find Spawn 1s all the time.
yeah, it's like one of those books. I love it though. I actually read Spawn up to I think 20 something in the 20s.
Yeah,
Once
yeah.
once the dials, he always had that timer, right?
Mhm.
Where his power was going to end, and once that timer runs out, he's going to cease to exist, and all the bad stuff happens. And it was kind of
Yep.
ticking down, and then they realized, hey, wait, if we let this tick down, we're going to be out of a character. And they just removed it, and they just casually removed it. And but I enjoyed Spawn for a while, and then yeah, I think I quit around, I think it was around 20 or 30, issue 20 or 30, and then so I
I
have a
was on
big gap in my Spawn run.
I can remember when it was brand new and like issue 1, 2, and 3. I can remember them coming out and being a new thing. And I read those first couple, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty young. I didn't stick with it, but I had the first like 1, 2, and 3, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I actually I thought it was cool. I liked Violator, and I liked all the character. I was a big Spawn fan actually.
Violator was cool. I have let's see. I have an old toy. Have an old clown. Whoop, his arm fell off.
His arm falls off.
It winds. It's a winding arm, so it comes off sometimes. But yeah, you wind him and he turns into the
Oh,
little demon spawn
awesome!
guy, and he's got the piece of chicken.
That is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that character. He's a cool villain.
Mm-hmm.
Um but
So
yeah,
yeah, so
sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
no, no, no. We should probably wrap up. What are you working on, and where can people find you? Is I guess the next thing.
Oh yeah, man. I'm always working on my next live streams that are Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. It'd be
Mm-hmm.
4:30 Pacific, I believe, but it's called Comic Book Addicts. That's my baby. That's what I put all the work into.
Mm-hmm.
I try to do like a combination of some recovery topics, and kind of mix it with some comic book stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
make it fun. I make it fun, and we have some cool guests, like I was saying before, writers, artists, YouTube community members. Um, and I try to drop videos somewhat regularly, like once a week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dropping shorts constantly every day. I'm a huge horror collector, so I drop a bunch of horror shorts. I collect Marvel Legends, like a lot of action figures. So I collect, I drop a lot of toy related shorts.
Mm-hmm.
So you get kind of a good mixture of toys and comic books and some recovery stuff, a lot of different stuff on my channel. So
That's cool.
always working to better the channel, and I'm currently trying to get monetized. I'm there as far as subscribers. I just got to
Yeah,
work
you're
on my
well
watch
over it. I
time.
mean, you have like 1,300 or so right now, something like
Yeah,
that.
so I'm well over the subscriber mark. I'm only a little past like the halfway mark on my watch time. So I really need to work on that.
I'm actually surprised by that you didn't have the watch time, just because with
My
the
time
live stream.
started over. It's I'd gotten so many views on that cherry Pop Tart and was doing so well, and at some point my time started over.
Oh, maybe it's within a certain frame of time that you have to get
It
that
has
number
to
of
be
views.
within a 1 year time, and at some point my time started over,
Oh
and
man.
and so yeah, that
Well, I
screwed me.
thought your live streams would have put you into that. Like,
Well,
do they
I'm
count the
now
hours of the live streams, or?
I try to do over an hour on each one. I try to go at least an hour. It
Mhm.
usually ends about an hour, 5 minutes, and I'm on going into live stream number 27 this Monday. So I'm hoping just keeping doing these live streams will get me there.
Yeah. I hope you get it. I mean, it's always that you feel like you hit that next level when you're monetized, right?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, and like my really big goals and the good intentions that I have can't come to fruition until I'm monetized, because
Mhm.
actually I have a good heart and I have a lot of good intentions for this channel, and any money I could get for this channel. Obviously I work a full-time job. I don't need the
Mhm.
extra money. I want to do some good. I want to do some good here in Chattanooga in the community. And I want
Mhm.
to be able to show you guys that are watching, um, show it, find a way to show it happening, to show that I'm physically taking the money and doing good here in the community.
Mhm.
There are some causes that could really use the help that are close to home. I just want to figure out a way to balance the anonymity with
With
showing the money in action. I mean,
yeah, I get that part. Yeah.
yeah, I obviously don't want to show anybody's faces, but I want to show the money at work. I just got to figure out a way to
The
do it, but I have
only
good
thing is,
intentions.
don't expect huge money from monetization.
Yeah,
It's not big money. It's
no,
like,
but any money that I could get from channel memberships, anything like that,
mhm.
I just want to put and funnel it towards this idea that I have in mind, and it's going to do
Do
a
you
lot of good.
do you know Rob Fat Stacks?
It's going to be similar to his
Yeah,
comics
he
curing
he does really
cancer.
well with that, actually.
Yeah, but it's going to be more helping keep the lights on at these facilities that host the NA and AA meetings that people so desperately need. A
Mhm.
lot of these places struggle to have the funds to keep their lights
Yeah,
on.
it's not like a
Um,
like a thing where there's lots of money in it. That's the
right.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, some places have churches that will let them do it. But my favorite place here in Chattanooga, it was basically ran out of like an old barber shop, and it was
Okay.
the best environment. I've taken so many good things away from that place, but they struggle from month to month to even keep the lights on, and
Wow.
just so much as like $20 would make a difference to them. So if I
Oh,
could,
okay, so that's cool.
yeah, so even if I could give them small amounts of money, it would make a difference, and
Yeah,
that's
that's
what I'm
great.
all about, man. That's what I want to do. That's the ultimate goal.
So people watching, go over to his channel, watch a whole bunch of time on his channel. Just play it in the background. Just play it
Please.
in the background, and get his watch time up so he can get monetized. That's all I'm asking. Subscribe to
Thank
his
you.
channel too.
Thank you in advance. Thank you so much. And thank
Okay.
you for having me, man. I any excuse to talk about comic books.
Yeah, it's great. I always enjoy it too. Like it's interesting. Like each person is like a different genre of comics that they love. So, you're more modern and like '90s stuff.
Yeah.
Like last guy I was talking to was more like Copper Age. Other people, it's Golden Age. It's like it's always like I'm a collector of all. Like everyone knows it's me.
We didn't even dip into the horror at all. I'm a
I know
huge
that's
horror collector.
actually, you know what's funny? Like to the people watching this, I thought that this show was going to be all horror. I
I didn't
really
get to it
thought.
yet. I hadn't got to it yet.
Okay, wait, just people, wait. Everyone stop. Don't leave yet. Nobody's leaving. Okay, we're gonna see some horror really quickly. Show some cool
Okay.
horror books.
All right, I'll show y'all some cool horror. And these are all very special to me. They were given to me from a dear friend that I work with. There's no way that I would ever be able to find these on my own in bins.
That was one of the ones you showed on the stream. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, this is this is the first appearance of Michael Myers, but it's the rare version of the first appearance. It's the one limited. The original is limited to 666 copies. This is one of only 250. But just very special to me. These books are all super special to me. They're all really short
classic
printed
80s horror.
And yeah, and some of these are early 2000s when they weren't printing a lot, like short print runs. But they're just classic stuff that I loved as a kid. And like I said, these were all gifts from a dear friend of mine named Daryl, that I work with. Just an amazing guy, that's lived an amazing life, and has told me so many cool stories and has been a great friend to me. And he was always looking for someone. And it goes to show you, like, it's another lesson that I learned from watching Comic Tom that actually really has worked well for me. Always tell everybody that you know that you're a comic book collector, and share with them how much you love comic books, because you never know.
Important.
Yeah, you never know who is sitting on some old comic books that are just looking for a good home. And when Daryl realized how much that I was into comic books, how much I love them, he was slowly began giving me this amazing horror collection.
I always love that cover, by the way. I just thought it's very haunting. It's just a really great cover.
That's Greg Capullo.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's great. He's awesome.
But these, this is just a small little piece of the collection that he gave me. But I just wanted to, show a little bit of it to you.
This is the fastest horror collection show ever. We'll have to do this again. We'll give you more time to show these because they're so awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, like, this is just a small chunk. I have a whole other short box just full.
That's cool. Actually, I really like that. That's that's my kind of stuff. I like the sexy girls. So.
Yeah, that's J. Scott Campbell.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that must be pretty rare. That one, I'm not familiar with it. That's really cool too.
That's signed as well by the cover artist.
That's really cool. Zombie Tales. That's nice.
That's one of the first books that came out from Boom Studios as well. I think that might be the very first book on Boom Studios.
Oh, really? I'll have to look for that one. That's going to be in a future unboxing.
Yeah, a little random fact. That's I believe that's Boom Studios' first release right there.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, that's just a small piece of the horror. If you guys want to see any more, tons of horror stuff on my channel, S Vaughn 82.
And you're gonna watch. Everyone's gonna watch 10 hours of his show, of his shows, just so we get the watch time. So I'm actually gonna do that myself. I'm gonna
Thank you.
Do you have any playlists?
Yeah, I put all my live streams on a playlist.
Okay,
and all my
what I'm
videos
gonna do
just
just to give you some playtime, I'm gonna just let that play in the background on my computer. Even if I I'm not gonna watch it. It's like,
no, you don't have to.
But even just to have that, it will give you the playtime. Is my point.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. I really need people to do that. It's hard to ask anybody to do that, and I don't want to ask anybody, but it would be very helpful. It really
guys that are watching. This is about comic community, and this guy that I'm interviewing here is a good guy. We gotta help him. Help him. Okay, so that'll be fun. That'll be if we can get it. So, how many? It's like 1,000 hours or something like that.
I lack about 1,000 hours.
Okay.
Of watch time.
So, how hard is that, people? It's not that hard.
It's not real hard.
Probably about 200-300 people will watch this interview. If we all just do 3 hours, have it playing in the background, we'll hit it. We'll get it.
Just let it run on mute.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. That would be amazing. Yeah, I would be so grateful. I have so many good things that I want to do, but I need to get monetized to make it happen.
Okay, I'm gonna watch 1,000 hours myself, just of your stuff.
Thank you.
I'll have you on the loop.
Thank you so much, man, and thanks for having me on. This has been a blast.
No, it's fun. It's fun. I thought you had great books. I'm interested in people for their books. I always like meeting people because they have cool books. I'm like, oh, those are cool books. I'm a big horror buff myself, so I thought, wow. I saw those books and I was like, those are so awesome.
Well, so I just barely put a dent in my book, so if you ever want me to come back, I'm
definitely
always willing.
Again, I tell this to some of the I've been doing this more lately, realizing that I should have been doing this all along. I'd love to do live streams, actual live streams. This is recorded, but an actual live stream where, you know, like yourself and like a few other people, we all
It's
hang out.
fun with audience interaction.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
Yeah, I like that. You know, and people can say, "Oh, can you see that book again?" Like, yeah, I love that. Yeah,
it is cool. It's very cool.
Okay, so thanks again. We'll have to do this again sometime. We'll have part two.
Anytime.
And again, go over, watch his stuff. I'll put the links in the description. Everyone binge watch his channel. Okay, thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Thanks, guys.